Okay. All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever and wherever you are. This is Lee, and I'm the host of this edition of the Speech Anxiety Masters, or SAM Speech Club. And this is the only speech club that focuses on alleviating speech anxieties. SAM is sponsored by Speech Anxiety Cures, the world's only community of ex-stutterers and those fast becoming ex-stutterers. SAC is dedicated to the cause of removing stuttering and speech anxieties from the planet by using the Loveit method. We support all legal and moral methods that work, but these meetings focus only on the Loveit method, as that's the only one at which we are proficient. Our goals are to stop stuttering, to teach ourselves to love to speak in all situations, to elevate our lives through mind training, and to provide a support community of ex-stutterers to help PWS achieve, maintain, and improve fluency. Our rules are: 1, no one is required to say anything, but everyone is encouraged to make comments verbally or in chats and ask questions. 2, before speaking, please hit the raise your hand button and be recognized by the moderator, who's Clifton today. 3, we allow roughly 1 minute to ask a question and 2 minutes to reply. 4, you may write a chat to everyone or to just one other attendee if you see someone you'd like to meet or know or practice speech with or whatever. 4, do not say anything that you would not be pleased for your parents or your children to hear you say. And 5, finally, please turn on your mute button and keep your mic muted until you are called on to speak. Otherwise, we'll hear the room noises where you are. All attendees are encouraged to chat with other attendees during and after SAM meetings. Some attendees become friends that way and socialize or practice speaking between meetings. We have lots of practice sessions set up through SAM as well, which you can find on the website. If you wish to join a practice group, send a chat request to everybody anytime, including right now. SAM is a support group. Be advised that these meetings are recorded and may be shown in whole or in part by SEC on its website or elsewhere. Before we start, please click on the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner of the square, your square, and insert your first name or some name if you wish to use a pseudonym, followed something you want to be called, followed by a hyphen and your country. Last names are not needed. Everyone wants to know what to call you and where you live. After today's talk, our moderator will invite your questions and comments, and you will then raise your hand to be recognized before you speak. Okay. Today, our speaker is Stephanie. She was barely 18 when she came to us 1 year ago. She began stuttering with her first words and stuttered half or so of her words ineffectively all situations. Her stuttering was known to all who knew her. She had years of therapies that made little difference. She came to us last January with a totally open mind, ready and willing to learn and use our methods. And did she ever? She's largely self-taught. Last May, we started Skyping a couple of times a month. By August, she had shut down the bad incidents. And we haven't really Skyped much since then. But she stayed in the program up to her eyeballs, always learning and contributing. She's a frequent SAM visitor and participant. She's a workaholic, a stone winner. To know her is to love her. You're going to love what she has to share with you today. Stephanie, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Lee, for the introduction. Hello, everybody. My name is Stephanie, and I am a PWSS, a person who has stopped stuttering. Now, I first want to begin with saying thank you to everyone who is here listening. I know in my heart, if it weren't for Lee and for all of you here with me on this very, very, very long overdue journey, that I would not be where I am today. Okay. So, like many of you, stuttering has been a huge part of my life for as long as I can remember. Stuttering is still a major part of who I am and my identity. And for a long time, I wondered who I would be without it. I've been stuttering ever since I could speak, and I honestly cannot remember a time when I did not stutter. Everyone who has ever known me prior to finding SAC has known me as the stutterer, the quiet girl, the shy girl. And ironically, growing up, it terrified me to live with my stutter and to live without it. Because who would I be without the one thing that had been at the center of my life for so long? Stuttering affected almost every aspect of my life, from making friends, talking on the phone, ordering at restaurants, asking for help, everything. And I had been used to all of these things for so long and comfortable with them that I really didn't know anything else. I didn't know how to ask for help or where I could find help. And like many of you, I went to speech therapy all throughout my childhood, ever since I was in elementary school, probably in first grade. I've been there, and I stayed there through middle school, where many of my embarrassing stuttering moments occurred. I stayed there until I was around 13 or 14, and then I stopped going. They said I was fine, that my stuttering was under control, which, looking back now, they were completely false about that. And I know that the methods taught to me were not sustainable. These weird breathing exercises, weird mouth exercises, things that just seem so strange to me, especially at like 12 years old. So, and all throughout high school, I would say my stuttering was mild. You know, I could get by without having many issues. I was never bullied, never made to feel bad about my speech, but I can say that I was very isolated and I was limited because of my speech. And I would say that this was the worst time for my stuttering. As I got older, I noticed that you were expected to speak more, give more presentations, read aloud in class, and just participate more. And this obviously did not go well for me, as being under pressure in any capacity was my worst nightmare. I tried everything I could to hide my stuttering, but when I couldn't and I didn't see the results that I really desperately wanted and needed, I felt really angry. I felt alone. I was always fighting with myself. I was fighting to just be normal, to blend in with everyone else, because that's all I really wanted. Why couldn't I just be like everyone else? Why is it that I have this problem that I can't seem to fix. And it was these constant thoughts that led me to SAC. Now, it took me some time to find Lee and his methods, and it took me years, actually. I was around 17 at the time, almost 18, and I remember the moment that I found Lee specifically, like very oddly specifically. I was at a friend's going away party. It was at the end of summer, and I was dreading going to the party all day, and I was actually going to come up with an excuse not to go. And but I couldn't get out of it, so I ended up going. And it was that very familiar feeling all over again, feeling of isolation and anxiety were constantly washing over me at the party. I felt really alone, even though I was with my friends and my family. I felt like a complete stranger around them because I couldn't share who I truly was, and I couldn't be the person that I wanted to be because of my stuttering. My stuttering was so severe that I started thinking, how will I ever be able to communicate how I'm feeling? How will I ever be able to do anything that I wanted in my life? How will I make friends? How will I meet my partner? How will I give speeches? And it was all these thoughts that were overwhelming me that finally led me to search to the answer of all my problems. So I started on Google, like always, and I just typed the words, how to stop stuttering. And it only took me a few minutes to stumble upon Lee's book, and I will never forget it. I took one look at it, and I thought it was complete jargon. I thought it sounded absurd, honestly. And I had been down this path so many times before, and I was never successful in finding my answer. But I could tell that this time it was very different. I sat there, still at the party, and I just started reading from his book. And I immediately recognized his experiences, and I could tell that Lee had previously stuttered himself, and I could really resonate with his stories. And I started using his methods right away. I started doing the auto suggestions, the mind training, reading aloud for an hour every day, and I saw results immediately. It felt like my whole life had changed overnight. But however, I was not as consistent as I would have liked. After like a very rough year in 2020, I think for many people, I stopped working on everything in terms of my speech. I stopped the mind training. I stopped doing the auto suggestions. I stopped reading. I stopped coming to SAM meetings altogether. And if there's anything I've learned from this program, it's that consistency and patience are most important. Believing in the methods, in the program, the process, it will help expedite the goal. And looking back now at all that wasted time in 2020, feeling miserable and sorry for myself, when I could have persevered and kept improving my speech, I probably would have gotten here much faster. But I can say that I am very proud of myself for coming back and for want of a better future for myself. And I can happily say now through that perseverance and dedication, that SAC and this community that I found here has shaped me into a much better person. I've learned so much from all of you, from your experiences, than I ever would have imagined walking into it. I think that the most important lesson that I've taken away from this program is that nothing you truly want will ever come quickly and easily. It will take time, it will take dedication and struggling at times. And there were so many times when I just wanted to quit, to just give up and learn to live with my stuttering, as so many people have told me growing up. But had I done that, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I know I still have a lot of work to do, but I can say that I am improving every day, and I'm still learning to love to speak in all venues. And I plan on sticking to the program because I have so much to take away from it and continue to learn from all of you. So I'm not going anywhere. I can say that this program, honestly, in a way, saved my life. And I owe this all to Lee, to his generosity, his kindness, for his drive, for never giving up on any of us, which I can't really understand. And I owe it all to you guys. And I know for certain that if it weren't for you guys, for being on this journey with me, I never would have started and I never would have finished. So seeing you all, listening to your stories has been the most rewarding part of this program. So again, thank you for listening to me, for being on this journey with me and helping me finally find happiness.
Gee, wow, Stephanie, not a dry eye on the house, kid. Not a dry eye. Shoot, that's just, you leave us speechless, really.
Thank you.
There's not enough praise for that, for those remarks. And forgetting what you said about me, it's what you've been through and how you've handled it. Oh, God bless you. I mean, you make us all proud. We're proud to know you. While you were speaking, there's no one on this planet that would ever have thought that you ever stuttered one day or one word in your life. Not one person. So whatever it is you're doing, you have no indicia or any signs of stuttering. Can you speak better? Everyone can speak better. But you reached a level that's just beyond description. I would ask you, it hasn't been that long that you were stuttering. I mean, it's been 6 months or so since a bad incident or more. I don't know exactly, but while you were giving this talk, were you using a pressure speech plan, or what were you doing mentally?
Yeah, so I have a pressured speech plan. I have pretty much 3 steps that I use. I try to speak in short bursts. I also like to smile a lot when I give speeches, and yeah, I just try to speak very slowly and use extreme pronunciation. I think that works the best for me. Yeah.
Well, that's just great. Clifton, you're in charge of the moderating, so it's your mic.
So Clifton actually gave it to me because I don't think he's able to get online today. So I'll be leading the moderating. Stephanie, great job today. First up, we have Gary from New York. So I'll hand it off to Gary.
Hey, Stephanie. That was really, really beautiful. You do smile a lot. And every time you smiled, I noticed everybody else was smiling when you smiled, which was really good. I loved how you expressed yourself, using words like washing over me. That was like so poetic, so beautiful. The question I have is, where do you see yourself 5 years from now, speech-wise, professionally?
Yeah, when people ask me this question, like, I can't really give an answer because I'm more of a person who's like tried to live moment by moment, day by day. But professionally, I would like to be finished with school. I am a civil engineering major, so I hope to be doing something in that. In terms of speech, I would love to continue speaking in front of crowds. I think the more that I do that, the more comfortable I feel with it. I'm actually planning on joining Toastmaster soon, which I'm very excited about. So, like I don't try to look that far ahead. I really don't, because I feel like if it doesn't go the way I planned, I won't get disappointed. I don't know. That's just how I go.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Next up, we have Gabor from Hungary.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say that your speech was fantastic. That really relaxed, and it was great to listen. And it was interesting because I have similar experiences during my speech journey. So thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gabor. Next, we have Zach from Florida.
Hello. I thought your speech was amazing and you were so fluent. I could never expect that you actually did stutter. My question is, if you're put under pressure and like, what's your like stutter speech? I mean, like your stress speech plan, I guess.
This morning, actually, before giving my speech, I did a lot of auto suggestions, and I practice meditation a lot. That's just something that I've always done. And yeah, I just try to stick to the plan, and I just make sure I'm using the crutches. I use a lot of crutch 9, extreme pronunciation, and speaking with my hands. I use a lot of gestures now. I also like crutch 12. I like to smile a lot when I talk and to laugh a lot. I just tend to do that naturally, I think, like now. And yeah, I just try to calm down as much as I can. Breathe, speak slowly. Yeah.
Thank you.
But Vikram, can I just insert something?
Yeah.
She's made a very good point here that demonstrates something about the methods that's worth noting. Once you really know crutches 1 through 8 cold, and you can use them to eliminate a problem with any specific word, random individual word. Once you've done that and learn to link a bit and keep it short, what happens is you stop having bad incidents, period. And Stephanie has put a lot of distance between her and bad incidents. Been quite a while. She has graduated from crutches 1 through 8, which is not to say that she never uses them. I'm sure she does on occasion, but she basically doesn't really need them. She's like Prathusha. Prathusha survives on enthusiasm more than anything else, in my opinion. And because she's graduated, she knows the crutches so well, as I do. I don't need to think about the crutches. And Stephanie has reached that level. So what was her answer to the question? What crutches does she use? She uses gestures. In other words, she's relaxed. She's just being herself. And she smiles, and that takes the heat off. And then she said, I think pronunciation. Fine. Prathusha is basically surviving on enthusiasm. So am I. And stops. That's it. So she's not really using crutches. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, Stephanie.
Yeah, that is right. I use primarily like crutches like 9 through 13, I would say. Very rarely do I use like crutch 1 or pretty much like 1 through 8. But I just try my best to link my words, speak in short bursts, and yeah, just try to smile a lot. And I think that just makes people feel better. So yeah.
Well, the fact is, though, what you're doing is not really needing to use crutches 1 through 8. Isn't that true? I mean, most of the time. That was my point. That was my point.
Yeah.
And a big point I made in the book is when you know the crutches well enough, you simply don't need them. And that's the truth, because when you know them well enough, the heat goes off. But the problem is with some people who come to this program, they quit before they ever really learn how to use them, and they keep having bad incidents. And as long as you're having bad incidents, even one a month, you're a stutterer. But when you stop having them, and when you know in your heart and in your brain, you don't ever have to appear disabled. You will make mistakes and force words and forget things and repeat things, but you will not appear speech disabled. You never will. You never will. And as when you're at that stage, then you can think about, when you think about smiling, it takes over everything, or enthusiasm, or even pronunciation, or speaking slowly, or using stops. So you don't even need to think those things. You can just have fun speaking. The habit it dies. And Stephanie's is either dead or very close to it.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Stephanie, your mic seemed a little bit low. I don't know if you could bring it a little closer, maybe.
Okay.
But next we have Gil from Maryland.
Thanks, Vikram. Stephanie, fantastic job, really outstanding. And you're 18?
I'm 19.
You're 19 now. Oh, you've gotten to be you're 19 now, getting older. But I tell you, never would have known. I mean, you are very mature for your age and the way you speak and present yourself. So great job. I think my question's been answered, because I was going to ask you, during your most difficult period, when you were really going through the hardest part, were you using, it sounds like you were mostly reading aloud and using auto suggestions and things, but were you using any of the crutches 1 through 8, or did you have any go-to crutch that you were using more than others, just to kind of get through that rough patch? Now it doesn't sound like you need to use any of those crutches at all, but I was just wondering if back then, if you were.
Yeah, when I first started the program, not really. I didn't really understand the crutches at first, but I used a lot of linking words because I think that was just most natural sounding to me, most comfortable. And I used a lot of dropping the first letter of a word. I found that to be very helpful when I was first getting started. And then when I learned that crutch, I just started after crutch 9. I think those helped me the most, I would say.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gil. Next we have Prathyusha.
Hey, Stephanie, you sounded amazing. Even I'm able to relate with what you just said. Even I started with the first crutch and then I shifted to the 9th crutch. Yeah, just like you. That's a beautiful crutch. So I just wanted to ask you how your life has changed now after you became a PWS. Is like, how were you earlier and how are you now?
Yeah. Prior to finding SAC, like I was just a very reserved person. I spent a lot of time alone, like, and I was not at all confident in my speech ever. And after I became a PWSS, I found that I'm just much more comfortable speaking in front of people, in front of strangers. I also feel like less pressured all the time when I speak. So I'm much more confident and comfortable in my speech, I would say.
Great, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Prathyusha. Next we have Marjorie from Rhode Island.
Hey, Stephanie, fantastic job. I agree with what Lee said. I felt so moved by your words and how you presented it. So deep and sincere, and you were very present, grounded, and I could feel that, presence. And I felt like you were connecting with your audience, which, is a beautiful thing. And I wanted to just make a little comment about it sounded like regret about 2020 and not practicing, et cetera. And I would say it was fantastic because you learned from that. It sounds like you're not going to go back to that ever again. So, it was perfect that it came out that way. And, you can be grateful that it presented itself as a wonderful lesson to not stop practicing. So my question for you is, you also mentioned that, and correct me if I'm misunderstanding or phrasing this wrong, but that you are not yet ready to identify as a person who stopped stuttering or as a fluent person. I'm not sure exactly how you said it. And I'm wondering if you're doing anything yet to start creating that new identity for yourself.
Right. So I think in a way, I think I will always be a stutterer. Like, I think it made me the person I am. I don't ever want to forget that part of me. But like I sometimes do have a hard time saying that I no longer stutter because it's been a huge part of my life for so long. So I think the more comfortable I get with speaking in front of people and just more comfortable in my ability, I think it will become easier to admit that I no longer stutter. But I don't want to forget that part of me either. So, yeah.
Can I ask a follow-up question
Yeah, sure.
about what is it that you feel so bonded and that you want to retain it? Because you smile and share. It sounds like, this is a beautiful part of me as well. Like, I don't want to lose that part. So can you express more about that?
Yeah, so like I don't want to feel bad about that part of my life because I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of, you know, like, and I feel like so many people see it that way. Like it's this thing that you should hide, that you should be ashamed of when it's a very natural thing. So I think that's it.
Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, makes sense.
Thank you, Maitri. Next we have Steve from New York.
Good morning or good afternoon. Wait, give me a second. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done this. Okay. So Stephanie, I just want to say congratulations. I also want to say that I was there for your journey because you came into my practice sessions many times and I saw the effort and the determination that you would bring each time to the meeting. And it's truly wonderful to watch someone grow into the person that they've always been, but now it's even more apparent because while you were giving your speech, you were radiant, like you were glowing. Like it was, I'm serious. And I just remember you from what, like a year ago. And it's not too often in life that we see people go through such drastic changes before our eyes. And in this case, I got to witness it. And yeah, I'm just proud of you. I don't really have a question. Let me just make one up real quick. How was your holiday, your Christmas, all that stuff? There, something easy.
My holidays were okay. I spent it at home with my family. It was kind of quiet at home because of COVID and everything. My sister had COVID, so she couldn't really come. But I don't know. It was fine. I just was at home a lot, trying to relax.
I have one more question. I have an actual question now. Now that you're fluent, even though you don't quite identify as fluent, I think we all here would agree that you are fluent. Now that you are, how do you plan on using that gift? Because it's a gift. It's a gift that we have now.
Well,
So that's my question.
yeah, so I just plan on talking more, being more comfortable speaking. I also find it's a lot easier to make friends that way. So I just plan on speaking more, getting more comfortable talking in front of people, crowds, giving speeches. I plan on joining Toastmasters. I think that will help me a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much my plan moving forward.
Good. Again, congratulations.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. We next have Raj Mohan from Boise. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, hi, Stephanie. As all the others up till now have said up till now, it was an excellent speech, and it was so actually effortless and easy, and you appeared so much like natural too, and one thing which I found. Which applies to me, like especially, and which is, I think which inspires me is that what you said, that one should not give up. One should persevere, which is very important, because often on this journey you might, most often have ups and downs. So one has to just go on. One thing which I wanted to ask you was that have you ever used like hypnosis? Has it ever helped you, or have you tried that out?
Yeah, so I have never tried hypnosis. I've always been fascinated with the concept and I always wanted to do it just to see what it's like. But, I just use more meditation and I just use the auto suggestions more. I think that works well for me, but I'm not opposed to hypnosis. So yeah, I would like to one day.
Okay, just as a follow-up, actually, what meditation has actually helped you? Which, like, what have you done in that?
So I actually watch a lot of the videos on SAC. I know Pratusha, I will follow a lot of her videos. So I watch her a lot. So thank you, Pratusha.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I can pass it on to Tino from Croatia.
Thank you, Vikram. Hi to Stephanie. Hi to all. Stephanie, you really sound great. I really enjoyed your speech. You was so fluent, so natural that if I wouldn't ever think that you had some speech problem if you didn't mention it. My question to you is, how did you prepare yourself for this speech? What did you do?
So I first wrote the entire speech out, and I know for a lot of people they won't write the whole speech, they will just write bullet points. But for me, I wrote the entire speech out. I think that works better for me. And I practiced it with Lee just to make sure I was more comfortable talking to a smaller audience and then work my way to a much larger audience like here. And I just made sure that it sounded natural, that it came from the heart. And I just use my speech plan, speak in short bursts, just make it sound more like a conversation, more natural than a speech, I think.
Thank you. Great job you done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tino. Okay, next we have Ali Reza from Iran.
First of all, I have to say hi to all of you because it's actually my first time attending your sessions. So hello, everyone. And secondly, Stephanie, you made me cry. Like, I'm not kidding. I have the visuals here. And the thing is that I'm actually taking some meds that make it somehow impossible for me to cry. And yet, like I think 5 minutes after your speech, like I was genuinely crying my eyes out because it felt like you were just telling the story of my life. I think we're the same age. I'm also 19, and it's been so long that I felt hopeless and helpless, and just hearing you talk like that and hearing how fluent you sound, how fluent you sounded, I just have to say that you gave me so much hope and so much happiness, and I'm genuinely like so happy right now. I've never ever felt this comfortable. It kind of I know that even though it's my first time here, I kind of feel like home. So just thank you so much. I appreciate you. You sounded great. My question is, what was your moment? You know, some people have that clicking moment where they realize that, you know, that moment you realize that you weren't stuttering anymore.
Yeah. So,
Like, did you have those moments?
yeah. So first, thank you so much. Oh my God, thank you. That made me feel so good. Thank you. And
You too.
my answer, I don't think there was ever like a moment when I was like, oh my God, I don't stutter anymore. Like, oh my God, awesome. I think it just like happened over time. I just noticed that I was stuttering less and less, and then it just sort of wasn't ever on my mind anymore. Like now I don't really think about my speech at all. Like it's just like completely out of my mind now. So I think the more that you stick to the program and just keep trying your best, I think it'll just happen on its own very naturally, I would say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you a lot. Thank you very much.
Okay, and then lastly, we have Sebastian from London.
Hi, Stephanie. It was an amazing speech, really powerful, both in the delivery and it felt real and amazing. I actually had just a very quick question. You mentioned something about that your stuttering had been such an important part of yourself and your identity. I find this really important, and I wanted to know a bit more about this and how has your sense of identity now shifted that you are more in control of your speech and you have all these tools to I don't know, to tackle these fluencies in a different manner. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, it's kind of like a weird time of my life, I guess, because it's no longer a part of my life, but it has been since I was a child. Like pretty much my entire life, it's been a part of me. So now that it's not really on my mind anymore, it's very weird that like I have like so much more time to think about other things in a way. Like I can't really describe it. Like when you take away something that's been a part of you for so long, it's almost like I don't know who I am without it. Like I kind of have to remake this version of myself. So I can't really describe it. I think when it happens, it's just like, wow. I'm so yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I think it's growth in a sense, like
Yeah.
it's basically from going to school from school to college. It feels weird at first because but it's basically No, well, amazing actually. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I believe that's it. So I can pass it back to Lee.
Okay. I've got my hand raised, you naughty boy. I I get to raise my hand too. Several comments. One, I really enjoyed Ollie's comments, and he was new here today, and welcome again. I'm also impressed with Ollie's fluency here, but it reminds me of, it's an interesting conundrum or enigma that stuttering, as Steve wrote in his success story brilliantly, I couldn't repeat it, but it's kind of like a ghost or something that comes and goes, and you never know when it's going to strike. And you sound totally fluent in this situation, and 5 minutes later you can't say your name or anything. And that's what's so difficult for non-stutterers to understand. And this is why in many cases stutterers don't stutter with their coach, with their SLP like Marjorie, or with me or Prathush or anybody else who's coaching them. They don't stutter there. Some people stutter worse there. Most stutterers would find the SAM meeting a bit challenging, because there are a lot of faces here and a lot of people potentially judgmental, so some people would find it daunting, but Stephanie's had a lot of practice with that because she's been in many SAM meetings. Ollie has not. So it's interesting that that whatever the level of his problem is, it's not evident in this group. And this is a pretty good sized group, 25 or so, however many people sitting here staring at you, So from far away and strangers to boot, some of them pretty scary like me, others look pretty cute, but what is it? So in any event, Ollie, good job there. But it does demonstrate that stuttering is so situational. It's so difficult to understand for people who don't stutter. And even among stutterers, it's difficult to understand why somebody can be so fluent here and so disfluent somewhere else. But that's the way it is. That's the nature of the beast. But it's very important that no matter how fluent Stephanie is here today, or Ollie, or Prathusha, or anybody else, we need to be that fluent everywhere, all the time, no exceptions. And when you feel a challenge, you rise to it. And it's an opportunity, and you're going to nail it. And so we need to, I was going to ask Stephanie that, do you at this point feel that you hold back speaking anywhere for just latent fears or concerns, old style concerns? Do you feel that you hold back anywhere now for those reasons?
I would say that I hold back, but not for reasons related to my speech. I think that's just part of my personality. But in terms of speech, I'm not afraid to speak because I have a threat of stuttering. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's very important, because if you had answered yes, that you hold back in some situations for old speech fears, even though they're not justified, they might still be lingering and gnawing at you. And it's very important that you and everyone here, including myself, not hold back for those reasons. No, we will speak, and we will speak well, and we will do our job. We can handle this in any situation. And that's very, very, very important. There is our speech is not contingent on location or audiences, period. That has nothing to do with it. Those things are irrelevant to our ability to speak. And we're going to prove that. We're going to prove it in all venues. There were some chats about your comments, Stephanie, about it's important to not forget your past or to be ashamed of it. And boy, do we all agree on that. And there were several chats on that. Gil wrote something about it being a badge of courage. and a badge of honor, rather. And of course, that's the way I view it. How public could I have made my stuttering? How could I have made it more public? You say, why did you wait so long? Because I was married and had children and a million problems, and I didn't have time to write about it. And when I got the time, I did. But, you know, you have a gift, Stephanie, now, because, you know, you've elevated your life, yourself, your speech, everything's going up, 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 up. And you can really help. One way to not be ashamed of it, to be proud of it, to take advantage of your conquering of this adversity is to help others. And I know I asked you, you said you did plan to take the coach's course, and I hope you will. And whether or not your coach is, you know, that's an optional thing, but I think it would be a wonderful thing if you did. I can promise you this, anyone who really wants to nail their speech, go through this entire program, then become a PWSS, give your SAM talk, and train as a coach. Because that program itself, that's going to nail it. I mean, just drives more nails in Satan's coffin. You know, there's no way he's getting out of there. Plus, if you coach anybody ever, I mean, for years I've been helping people randomly, one person this year, and 2 years later, 3 people, and 5 years later, 2, and the next year, 3, and so forth. You know, it's like that, you know, just helping whoever came to me. But there was no internet. There was no internet during all those years. So here we are now, and we're all benefiting from similar methods. And, you know, you guys talk about learning from coaching. This is my first edition, written in 2015, 220 pages. This is what I just posted in September, How to Stop Stuttering and Love Speaking, 733 pages. Now, why did I not write this book here? Because I didn't have the benefit of all this coaching. I've done like 6,000 sessions from 2016 to date. And what have I learned? Read the book. I learned from coaching. I learned from you. Every day I learn something important new, believe me. You want to own your speech? You can be, and I say to everybody, don't try to be the best speaker in this group or that group. Just try to be the best you can be. And when you achieve that, you're going to be the best in a lot of groups. Stephanie's demonstrated that right here. She probably has no idea how good she is. No idea, probably. So again, hats off. And I'm just so glad about the pride aspect of it too. Everyone here needs to be not ashamed of having been or being a stutterer. You don't have to be a stutterer if you don't want to be. That's my considered opinion, and I think we prove it every month. If you don't want to do it, but Stephanie did not get here by dint of accident or by thinking about it. She worked hard, and she stayed with this program, man, and she has nailed it. And if you want to do it, do it. Because if you don't, it's really your fault. It's a choice you're making, consciously or subconsciously. When you think solutions, the habit can't get you. When you don't think solutions, the habit can get you. That's the ghost coming in that flits around and nails you here and doesn't nail you there and nails you somewhere else. But when you're on guard for it and thinking solutions, you have a speech plan or whatever. Stephanie, I think, has graduated from it. A number of you people have graduated from it. That's great. I'm really happy for you because I have too, which doesn't mean I don't have a threat once in a while. I've said that many times. I use a crutch and it's a joke. I love using crutches. I just don't have many reasons to do it. I've said too much. Stephanie, again, you are the reason that I'm here. You are it. And, you know, if you were the only person that I've ever coached or I've ever heard speak, you've justified every bit of work I put into this to this day. Thank you.
Thank you.
So is it back to the host to close or something? Is that what?
I think so, Dad.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, let's close today with the key words, the most important words in my book, which are not my words. They're the words of the psychiatrist, Frank S. Caprio, from his book, Helping Yourself with Psychiatry. We have free choice to accept or reject thoughts. Nothing compels us to think anything except our own desires. So use your mental switch and dictate your thoughts. Believe that you can improve, and you will. Thanks for coming. Hope to see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Have a great weekend. Great job,
Good job,
Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Thanks,
to
bye.
all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you so much. It was an honor.
Bye bye. See you.